There's one surefire way to destroy every relationship you have in your life. That includes familial relationships, intimate relationships, or romantic relationships, because not all romantic relationships have intimacy in them, friendships, peer groups, whatever relationships you have in your life, there's one way that you can guarantee that you will absolutely destroy them from the inside out, and that is the need to be right. That's right. Your need to be right in a situation or any given situations, plural, is going to destroy your relationship dynamics faster than anything else will. And the reason for this is not that there's something wrong with being right, right? Sometimes you're just saying something and it's accurate. You're on point. Therefore, you want to be right. The problem underlaying this entire facade of rightness is that it is not you speaking, but instead your ego speaking. Your ego, the survival aspect of yourself, that primitive aspect that is only looking to quote unquote protect you from external threats and dangers to your livelihood. That's the part of you that needs to be right. There's a difference between being right and needing to be right. And even when you are right, it's like if there's an argument being had, if you are right, you technically don't care whether or not the person that you're speaking to accepts that or not. Like if you've ever seen a real good debater, right? Some of these individuals who are into apologetics or the opposite side, like when the person is truly convinced of what they're saying, they will lay out their argument, they will lay out their points, and that's it. They're not trying. You need to believe what, do you believe what I believe yet? I'm right. You need to know I'm right. No, they lay out the facts and they say this is what it is. Take it or leave it. And if you're in a relationship dynamic where the other person has this perpetual need to be right as well, all that's going to ensue is bickering, is arguing, and hard headedness. And then again, the relationship is going to end even faster than just one person having this perpetual need to be right. So you may think to yourself, but what if I'm in a situation in my relationship where me being right matters, right? Where would that be the case? Let's say somebody is believing that I did something that I did not do, and I need them to know that I'm right, right? That may seem like a situation where if they don't know I'm right, then they think I'm a liar, or they know I'm right, they think I'm, scandalous or whatever it is that they're believing about me. Guess what? If a person has bought into something and they've chosen to buy into that, let's say a person believes that you're scandalous, even though you're not. They believe you're trifling, even though you're not. They believe that you're a cheater, even though you're not. Let's say they believe that about you. If they have chosen to believe that, then that is a choice that they have made. And it says everything about them. It shows where they are, where their psyche and their consciousness is. They are in a place of insecurity. They're in a place of jealousy, of whatever it is that may be ruminating within them. So there is nothing you can do under heaven or earth that is going to change that perception within that person until they make the decision to change it. And that's the entire thing about the facade of rightness is people can only perceive things from their own standpoint, from their own perspective. We can only see things how we want to see them. So if you're trying to argue with somebody who is a Christian, and saying they're wrong, or somebody who's an atheist and say they're wrong, if the person is believing what they're believing, they're going to only go from their own frame of reference. There are very few people, maybe a handful, maybe 6 people on this planet who I can point to and say these people are actually objective. And you can say something to them, and if they're wrong, they'll accept it right there. You know what? You have a great point. You have the facts. You have the evidence. I'm gonna change my mind. But the rest of the 8 billion people on this planet, absolutely the hell not. They just are going to believe what they believe. They are going to buy into what they buy into until that thing is no longer serving them. Because oftentimes, if not every time, our belief system is serving a purpose. Our identity that we hold on to, that we cling to, is serving a purpose, even if it's destructive for us. Right? It's like an addiction. An addiction is serving the purpose of numbing a pain. And we believe or perceive that having that addiction in our life or having that chemical dependency is better for us than dealing with whatever pain is underlaying that addiction. There is an inherent belief that the drug is better than whatever is on the other side. And until we're convinced otherwise, we will continue to stay in that very same cycle. We'll stay within that addiction, with that addictive cycle. I know because I came from it from 14 to almost 20 years old. Just before I turned 20, I was an addict. I was a dope boy. I was a junkie. I was high on my own supply. And during that time in my life, I believe that it was better for me to use the dope, to use the drugs as a means to cope as opposed to dealing with whatever it is I was coping through. I believe that it was a better solution for me. And so each of us holds on to our belief systems in the very same way. We believe that this belief is serving me more than it is destructive towards me, and we will keep perpetuating it until otherwise, which is why being right is actually nothing more than an illusion in our head. We're going to be wrong to most people if we believe something that is contradicting what they believe in, even if you believe the truth, even if what you buy into is science, right? Some people, science, whatever it shows, is going to be wrong. And science is nothing more than, predictable, measurable process to get an outcome and to prove that thing to be a universal truth. But some people look at universal truth and they still don't believe it. Galileo was showing the world that there is a truth we do not yet accept, and the world was ready to put his head on a plate because he told him that truth and he continued to harp on it. He was right. He was right. We all know he was right at this point. But being right in his circumstance or situation meant nothing to those around him. And so I say this, when it comes to our relationship dynamics, our need to be right oftentimes comes from our own insecurity. We want to be right so the other person sees us as a somebody. We want to be validated in our rightness. That's what it's really about. What's underlying all of it, we got it from our parents, most of us, right? Or from whatever family structure we grew up in, if it wasn't, the traditional dad and mom type of setting. We got that belief that we need to be right in order to be valid. We need to be right in order to be perceived as good enough, as adequate. It's again a means of getting an external validity of being seen or perceived as somebody who was smart, who was acceptable, right? That's what being right is about. There's an inherent need we believe that we're meeting by being right. And when we harp on this, it only ruins a relationship, which is why most people find themselves at odds within their relationships. And I'm not saying you mask your truth. I'm not saying you mask your belief system. Actually, quite the opposite. I'm still somebody who I'm going to speak my mind, but I'm not doing so to evangelize. Unlike when I was in my Christian youth, when I believed it was my job to beat you over the head with the Bible until somehow it absorbed into your brain, I no longer believe it is my job to evangelize. Instead, I'm going to speak just like I do on this channel. Every single day, I'm going to speak to you. I'm going to speak what I believe to be the truth, and you can take it or leave it. And it doesn't make any difference to me because I'm receiving it. And if it's bettering my life, if I believe that it's bettering my life, then it's bettering my life. And if it will better your life, then, more kudos to all of us. But if you don't accept it, it doesn't mean anything about me. It doesn't say something about my worthiness or undeservedness, right? It doesn't mean that I'm not loved, I'm not seen, I'm not heard, because I already show myself those aspects. I love myself already. You understand me? So whether or not you think I'm right or wrong, that's up to you. And so what I'm really getting to with this one is we need to allow ourselves to let go of this facade of rightness in order for us to have right relationship with ourselves as well as others. Because every relationship is nothing more than a reflection of the relationship within ourselves, right? So when we start to examine where is this need coming from and we accept that, oh, I need to be right because I believe that in being right, I'm going to be deemed as worthy, as acceptable, as worthy of love, as worthy of, affection or whatever it may be, as acceptable. When I realize that, then I say, is this actually serving me? And 9 times out of 8, that's right, 9 times out of 8, it is unnecessary. Every single time, in every single situation, it doesn't matter whether or not you're right in the other person's eyes. If a person wants to believe you, if a person wants to trust in you, if a person wants to accept you, there's nothing that you can do externally that would do so besides manipulate them, maybe, or try to create some sort of influence. Instead, living in integrity with who you are is the most powerful antidote to anything. Character, true sense of character, is the only antidote to anything in life. To be who you say you are. Be who you say you are. Like, I'm an Aquarius for real, right? And a part of my nature is to say, if you are something, be that thing absolutely. Even if you're dead ass wrong. I was dead ass wrong for a lot of my life, and I was given to it. Absolutely, wholeheartedly believed in my wrongness. I believed that I was on point, right? I believe that Jesus is the only way. I believe that this way of truth. I even say, if you're a dog, be a dog then. Like, be in the streets. Don't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Don't be half dog, half not. Like, if you really about to be one, if you about to really be for the streets, really be for the streets. Don't try to play both sides. You understand me? Now, am I saying it's going to be good, bad, and different? That's between you and you. Only you know. But what I know is be in integrity with yourself. Be right with yourself, and you won't need anybody else to perceive you any sort of way. You know who you are. You know where you stand. And if somebody else can't see that within you, if somebody else can accept that and acknowledge that within you, that's between them and them. Your character should show everything. Your character should be the display of what you truly are. So if you believe that you're scandalous and you're trying to get somebody to believe you're not, then you're out of integrity. You're a liar. Then of course they shouldn't. Well, she just, she thinks I'm this kind of way. Well, he thinks I'm this kind of way. But if you are kind of that kind of way, then they're probably just picking up on what's there. But if you're not that, and you know through and through that you're not that, then it doesn't matter whether or not they accept it. The person who is meant to see you for what you are is going to see you for exactly what you are, because they are integrity themselves. They don't have that paranoia within them because they're probably living a life that's aligned with the way that you're living, or with the way that they're saying that they're living. So you don't need the person to believe or think that you're right. That's again this extreme case. For most of us, we just want to be right in little petty stuff, little petty arguments. I know I'm right. I want to win. Win what? Win a divorce? Win a lost friend? Win losing your child? Not losing them in the physical sense, but having your child no longer be in your life because you want to be quote unquote right? Okay. That's between you and you once again. So the solution, the remedy to the ego is to first and foremost recognize that you are whole, you're complete, you are enough. You don't need to be protected emotionally, by hiding and skirting away and negating and denying and living in this sense of need. Instead, you recognize that you already have all within yourself, that you are an aspect of divinity, that you are powerful through and through. And this may be hard to accept at first because you've been taught that you're broken, inadequate, not enough, fallen, whatever it may be, right? Fill in the blank. But those are warped perceptions. Those are not the truth of what you are. You are loved. You are whole. You are more than enough, period. And you don't need to do anything to earn that. And once you can recognize that, you no longer care about being right. I've been in so many situations now, and I'm again a real life Aquarius. I've been in situations where we was dragging to the point. We were pulling weaves by that point. You understand? Not physically, okay? Y'all get too serious. But we were basically like at odds, about to go blow for blow because I needed to be right. And now I'm like, could care less. I know where I stand. I know who I am. I know the way I move. That's it. Period. So hopefully this has been of value to you. If it hasn't, oh well. But if it's been something that has been of substance, then make sure to tune in. Make sure to stay tapped in. Subscribe to the channel. Do all the good stuff. More importantly, get yourself a copy of my first published book, Doing Me Guilt-Free. This is a lifetime investment. Lifetime investment for me. I bought myself a copy. I bought myself two. Boom. Right? Because I know that I need this constant reminder throughout my life. The only way we can live in integrity, the only way we can truly live our own lives is by living a life outside of guilt. Living a life where we break free from that need of validation and instead live from our own true core, our own true essence, our own personal power. So get yourself a copy of one of them. Boom, right there by clicking the link in the description below. Till the next time, namaste, namasko.